We're here with
John Sakura
of Gamers Anonymous.
Super Gamers Anonymous specifically.
Okay. I just learned something.
Yeah. There's regular Gamers Anonymous and there's Super Gamers Anonymous.
Okay.
There's a regular Nintendo and there's a Super Nintendo.
That makes sense.
There it is.
I know. Didn't know that.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Now what?
So where did you come up with the name for Gamers Anonymous?
Well, before I owned the store, a buddy of mine actually owned Gamers Anonymous, and he had come up with the name himself. So it was not me at all.
Oh, okay.
I would have loved for that to happen, but I did have some say in making this Super Gamers Anonymous because I thought, well, the natural progression is Nintendo, Super Nintendo. Eventually there'll be a Gamers Anonymous 64.
Oh, okay.
And then nice. Pocket, and then Color, then the whole 9 yards.
The smaller ones will be
Game
Boys.
Exactly, or small subsidiary stores like the kiosks in the mall.
Makes sense.
Yeah, no, I'm excited.
Sweet. It had nothing to do with Alcoholics Anonymous at all?
No, and in fact, truth be told, if I had named the store, it would have been more akin to like Game Lords or something, mightier sounding, because we do get a lot of calls regarding the anonymous part with disregard for the gamers part.
Oh, okay.
Unless people think it's gamblers or something that's not video games.
So, can you tell us a little bit of your selection?
Well, we actually specialize, as you can see, like from everything just around here. Classic video games is sort of our bread and butter. Nintendo, Super Nintendo, 64, Genesis, the whole 16-bit, 8-bit era, especially. And we do a little bit of older stuff, Atari, ColecoVision, and Television, as it comes. But it's not really there's not a huge demand for it. So we'll just say the golden era of gaming, mid-90s, early 90s kind of stuff is really what we classify ourselves as, specializing in.
And there's a great selection. There's 360 games here, and they're for cheap. Way cheaper. You can find them anywhere else.
Hopefully.
Some of them are a little older. Some of them newer, but they're a lot discounted price. DS games, 3DS. All kinds of stuff. It's really great selection over here. Of course, like you said, mostly selection in the old school.
It's easier to sort of stick away with, or stay away from the mainstream, as there's so many other locations. GameStop and Best Buys and Walmarts and the whole 9 yards. So we still carry it for people, but it's just a lot easier just to specialize in the obsolete.
Sure. Can you tell us about, you guys do, special events, each week, or...?
We do. Actually, something we host at Super Gamers Anonymous, and this is exclusive to this store, is the Retro Gaming League, where we take classic video games, things like Root Beer Tapper, Punch-Out!, Mario Kart, Twisted Metal, things like that, and we do tournaments based off of really easy to quantify things, maybe score or time attacks. Just something fun to give any game a slightly competitive nature and get people playing classic video games just for the sake of, getting people together and as a social means, just playing classic games that some people haven't even played before or even heard of sometimes.
It's a great place to hang out, too.
Yeah, we came to a concert that was here. Keith Apker, if anybody's heard of him. Hungry Eyes, you may know him as, from M&M commercial.
Yep.
And that was awesome.
Yeah, blast getting him down here. It was a very big honor to have Keith and some of his friends just come down and wreck our ceiling. That's the most memorable part of the whole experience, but it was great. Yeah.
What are your favorite games?
Oh, geez. That's a huge list and nearly impossible to narrow down, but if I had to cite generally, most Nintendo stuff, just because that's what I grew up with, but Mega Man, if I'm to just really pick one.
Top 17.
Top 17.
No.
Mega Man's 1 through 17. 1 through 10, and then 7 other Mega Man games.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so.
Good answer.
Yeah.
And then you guys have a Neo Geo arcade game?
Yes, we do.
It's freaking awesome.
Absolutely. Now, we want people to come in here and hang out. It's like a place to come play with other gamers and just talk about games, and, just the atmosphere is something that I've always wanted for myself, so I thought, let me just make that.
Right.
Let's have it a reality.
And your location is?
10200 Corrales Road, Northwest, Suite B1, Albuquerque, New Mexico, 87114. It is off of Alameda and Corrales.
Yes.
Both of those. Simultaneous.
The corner.
There's a corner.
And what are your hours?
10 o'clock to 8 o'clock, Monday through Saturday, and then Sunday 11 to 6.
Well, we want to thank you for your time.
Oh, thank you guys. Yeah.
Thanks for letting us be here.
I love when you're here.
We love when we're here.
You're right, see? Yeah.
Hey there, gamers. We're here at Super Gamers Anonymous bringing you another retro review. We grew up with a lot of cool games, but
few were as educational as the ones we played in school.
Yeah, I mean Math Blaster, that crazy driving segment in Math Speak and teaches typing. But perhaps no game was as well known or as well received as the Oregon Trail.
The Oregon Trail was first produced for Macintosh and soon found its way over to the PC with the Deluxe Edition. Growing up using school computer labs, we had rudimentary games that taught us basic skills. Most of these games were tough, were boring, and uncreative, requiring players to use math to move or involve story analysis.
Schools soon found that the Oregon Trail was the perfect game to put in computer labs and trick kids into learning something. A combination of strategy, adventure, and eventually an early FPS. The Oregon Trail was a game that embedded itself in our imaginations and made us look forward to going to school for a change.
The Oregon Trail was a tough uphill climb to survive the harsh life of a pioneer.
Yeah, well, the focus of the game was basically to travel thousands of miles across the U.S. without dying from one of the dozens of violent diarrhea deaths. But there was more to the gameplay, though, as surviving the journey proved harder than it seemed.
The game featured strategic decision-making, like when to leave, what to buy, the pace to travel at, meal portions, and what profession to be. The banker was the richest, while the doctor could save people from death. The blacksmith could fix broken wheels, while the farmer keeps the oxen alive. Each profession had their own unique strengths that could help potentially dangerous situations.
Surviving the trip sure wasn't easy, as it seems like almost all your party members want to do is die. They will contract deadly diseases, drown while crossing rivers, or starve to death. Luckily, starving to death can be avoided by the legendary hunting component featured in most versions of the Oregon Trail. Fighting off disease is a bit tougher, as it's just a roll of the dice to see who lives or dies, if you're traveling without a doctor. Traversing rivers is a bit risky too, as either option to cross can result in drowning.
In other words, your party hates you.
So we've gone over all these aspects of the game, but let me know, what was your favorite part of the game?
My favorite aspect of the Oregon Trail was the hunting. It was an early first-person shooter that involved the mouse, and it worked out really well.
Well, Jeff, my favorite aspect of playing the Oregon Trail was just trying to survive as long as I could. It was always thrilling to see how many people I could keep alive by the time we got to Oregon, if we made it at all.
So pretty much just one of you guys survived.
Yeah, it is never, the one you want.
With challenging gameplay and interactive aspects like hunting, the Oregon Trail will be a retro game that we'll never forget.
Yeah, so why don't you do us a favor and go down to your local shop today and pick up a retro game. And remember, whether you grew up on Pac-Man or Pokemon, never forget the games of your youth.
Hi, I'm Solea, and I'm here with some helpful tips to get you through the zombie apocalypse. In the event of a zombie apocalypse, many people will choose to stay in their homes and defend them. Others will choose to leave and seek shelter somewhere else. For those of you who will be relocating, you are going to need a bug-out bag. A bug-out bag, often called a 72-hour bag, is not a long-term survival pack. It should have enough supplies to sustain you for about 3 days. I've compiled a list of essentials to help your bag get you from point A to point B, hopefully without being turned into one of the living dead. Dehydration is a serious threat when running from hordes of reanimated corpses. This is why the first essential supply in your bug-out bag is water. The minimum amount of water you should be drinking a day is 1 liter, and that's when you're playing Left 4 Dead from the comfort of your couch. When you're living it, you're going to need more. That's why I recommend carrying 4 liters of water on your person and a water purification system. A small pot to collect and boil water is the easiest. Use coffee filters on cloudy water to get some of the things you can't see out. In the event of a zombie apocalypse, the little things can kill you just as easily as the big flesh-craving ones. Food is also very important, as you will need energy to make it to your destination. MREs last forever and have lots of healthy, energy-boosting options. Protein and granola bars are another lightweight, high-energy option. Remember, you need enough food to last you about 3 days, and the easier to prepare the better. It doesn't need to be fancy, Gordon Ramsay. For some of us, the zombie apocalypse is going to be the first real physical activity we get since PE in high school. Chances are you're going to get hurt. That's why you're going to need a really good first aid kit. Bandages, burn cream, pain relievers, antiseptics, and antibiotics are a must. Really, the more prepared your first aid kit, the better, so don't be lazy packing this one. Shelter is very important in any survival situation. If you have to pack light, a tarp and a sleeping bag are your best options. Depending on the situation, fire could be used as a weapon. It'll also give you light, keep you warm, boil water, and help you prepare food. That's why a decent supply of Strike Anywhere waterproof matches and some butane lighters are a must. Do not underestimate the importance of rope. It has countless uses. A 14-foot paracord bracelet or two should get you through a few days in the wild. A few changes of clothes will make or break your journey to your safe zone. Several pairs of socks will keep your feet dry and frostbite-free in the winter, and a nice shady hat will keep your head cool in the summer. Pack for the weather and climate you should expect, and always have athletic shoes for running. Flashlights. Do I need to explain? Swiss Army knives have a bunch of sweet tools to help keep you prepared. Small hunting knives can cut through rope and tiny branches. And machetes can cut through shrubs and stuff. But unless you can decapitate a zombie or stab it in the back of the head, and you have means to completely clean the virus off the blade, I do not recommend using them as weapons. Well, weapons, we'll have to get into that next time. No promises on your ability, but if you listen to me, you might just survive the zombie apocalypse. Remember, stay handy, stay human.
A man without fear.
And a man who became a monster are the subjects of this week's Red or Green Report.
Representing the red side with the one and only Daredevil.
And representing the green side, Swamp Thing. Swamp Thing may appear to be a monster at first glance, but as you peer through the pages, a true hero emerges. Swamp Thing is about a man whose destiny is to become the Avatar Warrior King of the Green. Alec Holland rejects the Green and finds himself falling in love with the woman that is to be the Avatar Queen of the Rot. Being that they both reject their destinies, they instantly connect, but the Rot and the Green has different plans for them. As the Rot is making its attack on the world and the love of his life, Alec Holland is forced to accept his destiny. The title might not suggest a lush, vibrant world, but the art truly shines in this book. Yannick Paquette's realistically detailed gritty art gives this series a realistic look and real-world feel. The colors pop out at you. The green psychedelic color scheme sometimes quickly changed to deadly, deathly reds. The panel structure is a natural genius that is laid out in a vegetative plant life style. This series is made up of 3 worlds: flesh, human, plant vegetation, and rot death, each with their respective color schemes, art styles, and panel layouts. The humanistic side of Swamp Thing has never been brought to this character as superbly as Scott Schneider's writing has. This series is wrought with intense emotional scenes and ties. When it comes down to it, this book is about emotion, love, life, death, loss, and Rebirth. I've never been interested or cared about Swamp Thing, but I've known love and sacrifice, which are just a few things I relate to and love about this series. Anybody that can relate to these things will enjoy Swamp Thing. So whether you're into independent comics, mainstream comics, or have never read comics before, everybody should buy this series and experience it for themselves.
Battling Jack Murdoch wanted his son to live a life without fear, so he urged Matt not to follow in his footsteps as a small-time boxer, but to have the guts to make something of himself. When Matt was still a teenager, he saved an old man about to be run over by a runaway truck, but a radioactive cylinder fell from the truck and blinded Matt for life. Matt realized his other senses had become superhumanly acute. He could tell whether or not someone was lying by listening to the person's heartbeat. He could recognize people by their scent alone. And he developed a sixth sense, a radar-like awareness where objects were. Murdoch didn't need any superpowers to graduate at the top of his law school class. He became a successful attorney fulfilling the dreams of his father. Battling Jack did not live long enough to savor Matt's success. Gangster's bullets cut him down after he refused to throw a fight. Jack didn't want Matt to become a fighter, but to bring his killers to justice. He became a man without fear. Being a lifelong Daredevil fan, I was amazed by the quality of writing in this series. Mark Waid develops the best depiction of Matt Murdock and Daredevil I have read up to date. The portrayal of each character is written beautifully, along with the masterly crafted story that truly shows who and what Daredevil fights for. Mark Waid's Foggy Nelson, combined with many contrasting villains, convinces me that this series deserved to be named Best Series of 2011 by many different sources. The art in Daredevil is amazing. The pencil work and the covers are just phenomenal. Paulo Rivera draws the best Daredevil and blows my mind with each cover. His smooth lines mixed with beautifully crafted and motion-filled faces make him one of my favorite artists. And being that Daredevil is my favorite hero makes me appreciate Paulo's work even more with each issue he does. The high-caliber story and the amazing art make this series a force to be reckoned with in the comic book world. And this series is a definite buy, especially for a lifelong Daredevil fan.
So whether you're a fan of red or green, Daredevil or Swamp Thing, there truly is a flavor of comic for every palate. So go out to your local comic book shop today and buy one of these great series.
And remember, you stay nerdy, Planet Earth.